Hello, everyone. I'm Dennis Flower, former editor of leading industry publications, and now working with SFG20 to support its 2024 virtual summit on 20th of November. This is designed to provide a wide range of advice on the highly important topic of future-proofing buildings. I'm today joined by Ahmad Manzoor. Hi, Ahmad.
Hey there.
Ahmad is the former sales director for Siemens and now providing AI and digital transformation services on a consultancy basis. He's kindly agreed to be interviewed on the topic of the use of AI in building maintenance, which will also be in the topic of a panel debate within the SFG20 Virtual Summit. Ahmad, I believe you have a presentation, so I'll hand over to you first, if that's okay.
Well, thanks very much, Dennis. Glad to be here on the call. So we keep hearing about AI nowadays. Whenever we open the internet or anything, everybody's talking about AI. I love to take a deeper dive into what it means for the building maintenance industry and how do we navigate this complex environment that we find ourselves in. So coming from the data background, I mean, it's all about data. We keep hearing not only the AI word, but before that, it used to be data. Once the internet started back in the 80s and 90s, we saw that data is being flooded everywhere. And now we're being pressured by not only management, by the industry, by competitors, by everybody to use and make sense of that data. It's still startling to see that a lot of the data is still unused. According to Forrester, 60 to 70% of the data just sits in the organization somewhere. It's yes, there's a lot of IoT sensors, there's a lot of other devices that have being installed everywhere in the world, and they're producing data, and that data is being stored or being not stored. However, it's startling that 60 to 70% of the data is totally unused. Also, we see that businesses are they good at actionable insights to take that data and convert that into actionable insights? And according to Forrester, only 29% of the companies that they surveyed said that they were good in taking actionable insights from that data. Because, as you know, from data, we need to get information, and from information, we try to make those business decisions. On the right, you will see another interesting survey point by Accenture. Employees, only 25% of employees believe they are prepared to use data effectively. So that also is another indicator how few of the people are making use of the data that have been surveyed. So again, this opens up a little bit of our eyes, and I think we're in a very interesting point in time where we see that in some industries, we see AI and machine learning much ahead of the other industries like what we're in. So if we talk about buildings and smart buildings, I would say we're way behind, but that gives us a great opportunity to learn from those leading industries. And here is a good example of I'm based in the US, so we hear a lot about, and I'm sure you guys also, about Elon Musk and what's going on with SpaceX and Tesla. This is a screenshot of the FSD, the full self-driving release. This was last year, and this was also from my car as well, where you see that 300,000 lines of C++ code was converted and eliminated because of a neural network that was trained on millions of video clips. That was trained on those video clips, and then you could eliminate that code. It was similar for the SpaceX, the rocket that you saw in those viral videos, the booster rockets that came back, and the gantries were closing together and catching them and holding them like a baby. So I love those videos, and that shows us that in these other industries we already see the future. So the future is already here. However, it's not getting translated into the smart building industry. So this is what, I mean, we have this cheat sheet. Now, how do we use this cheat sheet and get those use cases into the building automation and smart building maintenance? There are a bunch of platforms out there, and that's what's, I mean, everybody's jumping into this bandwagon, so there's a lot of complexity out there, and that's what also is it's a bit difficult to navigate. What I've seen is AWS SageMaker, NVIDIA Foundry, you have the Google and the Microsoft Azure platforms, among many others, but these are the core ones, which are cloud native and also AI native, where these are becoming more and more easier for people to use. A little bit on the timeline. So the evolution, if you go back a little bit, and still is in most cases, a lot of time-based and reactive maintenance. And if we start to take a shift and look at the platform, it used to be a lot of on-prem servers by different vendors that used to run the building management system and fire alarm and security and everything in the good old days. Slowly, they started to become virtualized. So nowadays, we see a lot of virtualization, and that is turning into fully cloud-based and cloud-native solutions, which is very important because then that makes you future-proof because the AI and machine learning algorithms and the analytics, they run the best on the cloud. That's where they can really scale. Yes, you can also run them on-prem. However, it's much better on a hybrid cloud or a pure native cloud-based software stack, which is much amenable for maintenance and further development. So this is where we're headed. I would say, looking at the Tesla example, where we're eventually headed is the elimination altogether of traditional DDC and PLC programming. Some of it will still be there. However, you remember all those lines of codes, a lot of them will be eliminated and replaced by AI, neural networks, machine learning algorithms, so that and even using generative AI, which is a totally different subset, as we all know. So from that perspective, I would say these technologies are really converging together into that direction. A little bit on the domain know-how. So yes, we have all of this AI capability that is becoming commoditized. So instead of having your own data scientists in your organization, you don't need to hire them anymore. You can just use these cloud providers, and they have those data scientists, and they can help you. So a lot of these so that makes the domain know-how very important for everyone. And that is what we really have. So a lot of you guys out there from the smart building maintenance industry as end customers, you have that domain know-how. You know your own plants, you know your own buildings very, very well. So how do you help those cloud providers and AI solution providers make sense of that data? This is where those use cases come in. For example, vibration sensors. With vibration sensors, you can already predict when a motor or a bearing is going to fail in the future. So that is real predictive maintenance. So that helps with your uptime. And that's all the reason to do this. It's uptime, it's better asset management, it's user experience and energy efficiency. These are one of the main reasons why you would even think about AI and machine learning and predictive maintenance and all of that. It has to have those business outcomes. You can have current sensors. So current sensors, I mean, already being used in a lot of cases. However, they can also see the pattern in electrical flow and predict a lot of the failures before they happen or in advance. Thermal imaging helps also very clear use cases. Air quality sensors, you can have CO2 sensors, you can have some other air quality particulate matter sensors, which are also looking at the patterns of changes, and then you can optimize your HVAC system and other systems, ventilation systems accordingly. Water leak sensors also pretty clear use case. In terms of all of these use cases, the main common theme is predicting things before they happen. That is one of the common themes that is connecting into it. For example, looking at the weather patterns, predicting a weather pattern into the future. Is it going to be cloudy? Is it going to be a lesser temperature? How do we optimize? Is it going to be crowded? Is the building getting more occupants? Is it is it Christmas? Is it New Year's? Is it or is there a conference that is about to happen? Are there, for example, in a hospital, you have more cases of emergencies coming in during holidays or weekends. So that becomes so these are the patterns that you cannot sufficiently program into your systems in a descriptive way. So these are the things that AI applications can help make sense of the previous data, get trained on it, and predict. Similarly, for resource scheduling. So how do you get your maintenance staff and, for example, cleaning of facilities based on occupancy or future occupancy? So you know that there is in 2 days something going to happen. The AI gives you an alarm that, hey, things are going to get busy. You can have more shifts of cleaning staff in those days already um, uh, planned so that you don't get things by surprise. You reduce the amount of overtime or emergency work orders. So the list goes on and on. Cross-domain use cases are also very important. So, I mean, we're used to everything run as a silo. You have the building automation, fire alarm, elevators, the electrical system, everything likes to have their blinders on. How do you get them talk to each other? I mean, now it's easy for them to talk to each other. I mean, those days of integration difficulties are gone, but how do you run those use cases? How do you make sense of that data and then get them all together on a platform and run those analytics and those business decision? Those are the things that we really need to get the help of all of these platforms that are out there. The thermal energy system, obviously, the storage system has to be optimized as well based on the future occupancy. So again, another nice use case over there, which is already implemented, but from the future predictions, you have to make that work. So overall, what I see as a future where all of this market is heading from my more than 20 years of experience coming from looking at how the telecom industry and internet changed everything, and then the smart buildings coming from pneumatic control going into DDC and going into the future cloud-based platforms. I would say the traditional programming is going to be becoming less and less. It's going to be replaced by more neural networks in the future. The more important things will be the hardware, the IoT-based hardware. I would say will be a bit more commoditized and open and interoperable. So that is going to help pushing that standard data into the cloud. Cybersecurity is going to be important in those IoT-based devices that are pushing that data and then controlling those signals and actuating, making decisions on the ground. Greater interoperability. Obviously, with that, things have to be really open in the future, talk to each other. So that is what we're going to see. It's just going to eventually happen. And enhanced analytics, as we discussed earlier, is going to be a lot of those cloud native, and those analytics have to be in the cloud. I mean, that's eventually the future. You can try to force things on-prem, but eventually cloud is the future. Cloud or hybrid cloud. If you have some specific concerns, there are hybrid cloud architectures out there that are already very mature and can be a lot of people are already using them. So overall, I would say that is my picture of the future. where I see the market is headed. And yeah, if you have any questions, feel free to ask. I would say my takeaway out of this is we have to leverage the commoditization of AI and analytics. We have to use that to implement smart use cases for building maintenance. So that is my call for action. And hope you enjoyed my presentation. And yeah, feel free to ask any questions, Dennis.
Ahmed, thank you. That was one of the most concise and informative presentations I've seen to date on AI, etc. That was fantastic. Thank you so much for that.
Thanks for your kind words. I deliberately kept it a bit high level and easy to digest. I know you can always go into details, but you can always come back to me for more details and other discussions.
Oh, yeah, hugely impressive. I think you hit all your benchmarks and several others besides. So thank you so much for that. I've just got 3 questions to put to you, if that's okay.
Sure, shoot.
So, the first one being, what do you see as the most significant future trends in AI for building maintenance, and how should companies prepare for these changes?
I would say it's two things. It's the adoption. So everybody feels the need of that pressure to adopt for sure. So it's coming from the C level of the organizations, the sustainability targets, and the customer satisfaction and everything. So pushing that envelope, you have to use the data that you already have. So I think the adoption and the realization of that is going to improve further in the future. And the other thing is the complexity of how to do it. So you have so much noise in the market, and I would not say noise, I would say more options. A lot of system integrators and AI consultancy companies and solution providers are out there. You just type the words on Google and you'll just have 7 or 8
Yeah.
ads, and then you'll have the search results that start. So a lot of people are providing that already. So it's difficult how to make sense of it and navigate through that. I think there will be a lot of consolidation in the market, and some of them will, be successful. Some of them will disappear. Some of them will be acquired by the big companies, and it's a bit difficult to predict. But I would say it's going to be a bit messy in the next few years. And at the end, as I always give the example of search engines. I mean, when search engines started, Google, it was like winner takes all. So, from this perspective, it could be a winner takes all scenario in the smart building industry, or could be a duopoly or oligopoly, with 4 or 5 big players doing majority of that work. But these are currently my thoughts on that topic. Hopefully, that makes sense.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Yes. So, second question. Would you like to share your thoughts on the impact of the commoditization of AI and analytics on smaller businesses and how they can leverage these technologies?
Yeah, I think the biggest I mean, AI algorithms, machine learning algorithms have been around since, 100, more than 100 years, right? So it was the impact of the GPU and the realization that the GPU could do all of that mathematic calculation much quicker than a CPU that started the AI revolution. But I think it was Chat GPT that made it very, very concise and real for lay people like you and me. And a lot of people realize that yes, this is now you can touch and feel the impact of AI, which was before hidden in the analytics and algorithms and everything above somewhere, right? So I would say after Chat GPT, things are becoming more easy to touch and feel and see that difference. And I think that is what's where this is headed into the future, where people are more and more going to jump on the bandwagon and really see a difference, really see those business metrics, those business outcomes change. And it's just a matter of time. So I would say we're in exciting times right now.
Yes, yes. So, the third question. When choosing a PaaS or SaaS platform for AI and building maintenance, what key factors should companies consider?
Yeah, there are a lot of those things out there. I would say look at your data, what type of data you have, what is the frequency, what are your business outcomes that you're looking for. Start with your business outcomes. If you don't know, then have a consultancy type of engagement with somebody to fine tune those business outcomes. How do you plan to improve them? And then come to the platform. So you always have to start with the business outcomes first, the business goals and objectives, and then choose the right platform. And as I said before, there are many out there. It's difficult to choose. The good thing is everything is a lot of the things are now cloud native, so you can have a subscription model for a SaaS or a PaaS solution, and then just keep them ingesting your data, and afterwards you can always switch the platform to somebody else. So those switching costs will be reduced more and more into the future if you have your data lake set up. It's and who runs the analytics on your data lake? It's you can always, I mean, on theory, easily change, but you need to be careful in how you make the architecture for that on the IT side. And yeah, from that perspective, should be again start with the business objectives and then go to the platform.
Oh man, that's amazing. Thank you so much for your expertise, for your generosity in sharing all your knowledge. Thank you so much for joining us today. Thank you for putting so much effort into this presentation. Thank you.
My pleasure. Thank
Um,
you so much for having. Have a wonderful event.
Ahmad Manzoor, thank you very much.